All right, let's talk about World Series Game 1. You had the Dodgers, you had the Blue Jays, and for a while there, it was a classic nail-biter, a real pitcher's duel. But it ended in a total blowout. So the big question is, how did that happen? Let's dive in and really unpack the anatomy of this stunner.
I mean, seriously, for 5 whole innings, this was anyone's game. The Dodgers get on the board, the Jays answer right back. We're sitting there tied 2-2, heading into the middle of the game, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a classic, it's going to go right down to the wire.
And yet, somehow, the final score winds up being this lopsided 11-4 blowout for Toronto. So how do you get from that tight game to this? That's the puzzle we're going to solve. How does a game that's dead even just completely fall apart and turn into a rout? Well, it all comes down to a mix of strategy, execution, and, well, one absolutely catastrophic inning.
Okay, so to really get what happened here, we've got to rewind a bit. We're going back to before the first pitch was even thrown. Because really, the whole chess match started with those lineup cards. Both managers came in with a very specific game plan.
And you can see a huge difference in their thinking right away. The Dodgers, they pretty much stuck with the lineup that got them here. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the Blue Jays, they came out swinging with a very specific plan. They totally re-engineered their lineup to go after the lefty Blake Snell. I mean, they stacked it with 7 right-handed hitters, and they even bunked Bo Bichette to the cleanup spot, right behind Vladdy Jr. for protection. This wasn't just a lineup, it was a targeted, super aggressive strategy from the get-go.
And then you look at the mound, and it's like a story in itself. The ultimate contrast, right? You've got the decorated vet Blake Snell for the Dodgers. And who are the Jays throwing out there? A 22-year-old rookie, Trey Yasavage, making his World Series debut. Talk about pressure. So on paper, it's all about experience versus the young gun, the total wild card. But, as we all know, and as we're definitely about to see, the game is not played on paper.
All right, so here we go. This is it. This is the moment the entire game just gets flipped on its head. We've had 5 innings of this back-and-forth strategic battle, and then came the bottom of the 6th. An inning that, believe me, they will be talking about in Toronto for a long, long time.
And look, this whole thing wasn't just about one big swing. No, it was more like a relentless avalanche of runs. It actually started pretty small, you know? An RBI single from Ernie Clement gives him the lead. Okay, 3-2. Then, a pinch hit walk forces in a run. Another single. And then, bam, the 2 killer blows. A pinch hit grand slam from Addison Barger blows the doors off, and then Alejandro Kirk follows up with a 2-run homer just for good measure. It was just a total meltdown for the Dodgers bullpen, and an absolute masterclass from the Jays on how to pounce on an opportunity.
9. Just let that sink in for a second. 9 runs in 1 inning of the World Series. That single number tells you everything you need to know about the sheer scale of this collapse. An inning like that doesn't just change the game. It can change the entire trajectory of the series.
So, you have to ask, right? An inning like that, it doesn't just happen by accident. There's always a why behind it. So now we're going to dig into the numbers a little bit to really understand why one offense just exploded while the other one kind of fizzled out.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, simple. The Blue Jays just hit the ball harder all night. But here's the thing. The data tells a much more interesting story than that. And this is where we can really start to see the hidden edge that Toronto had.
So if you just look at the surface, at the hard hit rates, they look pretty similar, right? The Jays are a bit ahead, just over 40%, but the Dodgers are right there behind them at almost 37%. So if both teams were hitting it hard, what was the real difference maker?
And boom, here it is. Just look at this massive gap in expected batting average, or XBA. Now what that basically measures is how likely a ball you hit is going to be a base hit, and the difference is staggering. The Blue Jays' quality of contact was so good, their XBA was a whopping .326. The Dodgers, they were way down at a measly .163. So what does that mean? Well, the Dodgers were hitting a ton of lazy pop-ups and easy grounders. Toronto, on the other hand, was lacing line drives with authority. See, it's not just that you hit it hard, it's how you hit it hard.
And this really shows you how deep Toronto's attack was. You had 5, count them, 5 different guys with multiple hard-hit balls. I mean, the whole offense was just firing on all cylinders. Now, compare that to the Dodgers. They had 7 hard hits, sure, but they came from 7 different players. Nobody could really get locked in and be the guy to anchor a rally.
And then there's the other side of the coin. The Dodgers just couldn't make contact. 13 strikeouts is a lot, and a 38% whiff rate, that's just brutal. That means for every 10 swings they took, they were coming up empty on almost 4 of them.
It just shows you they were completely off balance all night long, never found a rhythm.
But you know, a game like this isn't just won or lost with the bats. No, you've got to look at the whole picture. The moves from the dugout, big plays on defense, and of course, those little blunders on the bases. They all played a huge role in how we got to that final 11-4 score.
And this, right here, was just a moment of pure managerial genius. It's a chess match, right? So in that huge 6th inning, the Dodgers bring in a right-handed pitcher. What does Toronto's manager do? Instantly counters with 2 left-handed pinch hitters. And the results? They speak for themselves. A bases-loaded walk and a game-breaking grand slam. I mean, those are perfectly targeted, decisive moves that paid off in the biggest way possible.
So you're probably wondering, why did the Dodgers bullpen just completely implode like that? Well, there's a really key piece of context here. Their #1 lefty reliever, Alex Vezia, he wasn't available. So without their go-to shutdown guy for those high-pressure spots, they had to throw Emmett Sheehan into the fire. And what a fire it was. Bases loaded, no outs, tie game. It was the worst possible situation, and he just couldn't stop the bleeding. It's a perfect example of how missing just one key player can create this massive game-losing ripple effect.
Now look, neither team played a perfect game on the bases. Both sides made some costly mistakes. But it's all about the timing, isn't it? The timing of the Dodgers' mistake was just devastating. It's the top of the 3rd, the game is still super tight, and Freddie Freeman gets thrown out trying to take 3rd. It just completely killed a rally that was just getting started. A classic gut punch of a momentum stopper.
Okay, so Game 1 is in the books. A total blowout. But now, the focus shifts right away to Game 2. So what kind of adjustments are we going to see? Because this strategic chess match, it's really only just getting started.
And the pitching matchup for Game 2 is just fascinating. For the Dodgers, they're sending out Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and this guy's been lights out dominant against, well, pretty much everyone, lefties and righties. Then for Toronto, you've got Kevin Gausman, who is especially nasty against left-handed hitters because of that killer splitter he has. So yeah, both lineups are definitely going to have their hands full.
So here's what to watch for in Game 2. It's all about adjustments. For Toronto, they absolutely have to get to Yamamoto early before he finds his groove and settles in. As for the Dodgers, hey, maybe they take a page right out of Toronto's playbook from Game 1 and stack their lineup with right-handed bats to try and neutralize Gausman. And the good news for both sides is that their bullpen should be rested. All the key arms will be fresh and available.
And that really leaves us with the million-dollar question for the rest of this series, doesn't it? Game 1 was just a clinic by the Blue Jays, a total masterclass in both strategy and execution. So now all the pressure is on the Dodgers. They have to respond. So can they solve this puzzle that Toronto has thrown at them? Or are the Blue Jays just riding a wave of momentum that's going to be impossible to stop? Well, I guess we're all going to find out soon enough.